The Hollywood aura is always bright and sparkling, but behind the stage lights are hidden dark corners that not everyone knows. Many stars that we once admired, once considered symbols of success and happiness, had to struggle in the darkness of alcohol. Alcohol for them is not just a temporary pleasure, but an addiction, an invisible prison that destroys their careers, reputations, and sometimes their lives. In today's video, we will look back at 15 famous Hollywood stars who fell into the spiral of alcohol addiction. Some people courageously stood up and started over, but there are also fates that forever collapsed in tragedy. Lindsay Lohan, the teenage star lost in alcohol and scandal. Lindsay Lohan was born in 1986 and was once considered one of the most promising young stars in Hollywood. From a young age, Lindsay stood out with her beautiful appearance and natural talent. She attracted attention with The Parent Trap, 1998, and in 2004. Mean Girls made Lindsay a global phenomenon. Her radiant beauty charm and acting ability made many people believe that she would soon become one of the world's top female stars. However, the halo too early became a double-edged sword. Before she had time to grow up, Lindsay had to face the harsh pursuit of the media, the pressure of fame, and the lavish party environment. Alcohol, drugs, and stimulants became the escape she sought to temporarily forget the stress. But that was what dragged Lindsay down the abyss of addiction. Throughout the 2000s, the press was flooded with images of Lindsay Lohan, drunk, losing control, driving under the influence of alcohol, and even using drugs right before going to court. She was arrested many times, had to go to rehab, and often appeared in court. The continuous scandals almost completely destroyed Lindsay's career when she was still in her 20s, the period that should have been the peak of her shine. Hollywood once had high expectations for Lindsay, but all of them were gradually buried under alcohol and a chaotic life. Instead of being mentioned as a new generation of female star, the name Lindsay Lohan is associated with the image of a fallen star ruined by early fame and deadly temptations. However, Lindsay still tried to find a way to rebuild her life. In recent years, she has gradually returned with a few small projects and tried to build a more mature image. But the scars of the past are still a clear warning. Alcohol and drugs can easily turn a shining star into a lost man in darkness. Mel Gibson. When alcohol topples Hollywood monuments. Mel Gibson, born in 1956, is one of the greatest stars and filmmakers in Hollywood. He made his mark with the action film series Lethal Weapon, then rose to the top when playing William Wallace in Braveheart, 1995. Not only an actor, Gibson is also an excellent director, winning an Oscar for Braveheart and being praised as a cinematic genius. However, behind the halo, Mel Gibson had to face a scary ghost: alcohol. He once publicly admitted that he started drinking at a very young age, and over time this habit became a real addiction. The peak was in 2006. Gibson was arrested by the police for driving under the influence. The incident not only made him lose his reputation, but also became the focus of global press, when while drunk, Gibson uttered offensive words and caused fierce controversy. This is considered a historic fall, dragging the image of a Hollywood icon into the abyss. After that scandal, Mel Gibson's career plummeted. Many film studios and colleagues turned their backs. Major projects were canceled and his name was associated with scandal and drinking instead of artistic talent. It took many years for Gibson to regain the trust of the audience through his efforts in making films and acting, such as in Hacksaw Ridge, 2016. The film that helped him return to the Oscar race, Mel Gibson's story, is proof that no matter how talented, how glorious his career, just 1 minute of losing control due to alcohol can destroy everything. Despite his efforts to recover, the stain of the past will always be an indelible part of his career journey. Courtney Love, punk rock icon and a life drowning in alcohol. Courtney Love, born in 1964, is one of the most prominent female singers of the punk rock movement in the 1990s. With her fierce voice, strong personality, and rebellious image, she quickly became a musical icon and a character that always attracted public attention. But behind that halo was a stormy life dominated by alcohol and drugs. Courtney once admitted that alcohol and drugs were an inseparable part of her life. During the peak years of her career, Alcohol helped her escape the pressure of her career fame as well as the pain in her personal life. But these addictions gradually destroyed her career, making Courtney Love's image in the public eye no longer just a talented female singer, but a symbol of tragedy and scandal. Her life was even more shocking when she was the wife of the legendary Kurt Cobain, one of the greatest musicians of all time, but had to witness the death of her husband while she herself struggled with addiction. In the years that followed, Courtney Love was constantly exposed by the media for scandals, from public drunkenness to legal problems, which gradually ruined her music career. Yet Courtney remains a punk rock icon with an indelible, rebellious spirit. Her story is a testament to the terrible price of alcohol and drugs, especially when combined with the pressures of fame and personal tragedy. Courtney Love still stands today, strong, fierce, and unyielding, but her story remains a warning about the dangers of alcohol and bad choices in the Hollywood spotlight. Bradley Cooper. From the abyss of alcoholism to Hollywood icon. Bradley Cooper, born in 1975, is known worldwide for his profound roles in The Hangover, American Sniper, and especially A Star, is Born, the film he directed and starred in with Lady Gaga. That success makes the audience think that Bradley always has a perfect life. However, few people know that before reaching the top, he almost lost everything because of alcohol. When he was in his early 20s, Cooper struggled with the invisible pressures of acting. At that time, he was still just a young, unknown face struggling to find a place in Hollywood. Feeling lonely, disappointed, and longing for recognition made him turn to alcohol as an escape. However, alcohol did not help him solve the problem, but only dragged Bradley deeper into the darkness he once shared. I drank to the point where I no longer recognized who I was, and I knew if I didn't stop, I would destroy my career and my life. 2004 marked a major turning point. Bradley Cooper decided to quit drinking completely. It was not an easy process, but his determination helped him change. Since then, Cooper has entered a new chapter, sober, disciplined, and absolutely focused on art. This decision opened up a brilliant career, turning him from a blissed actor into a respected actor, a talented filmmaker. Looking back on that journey, Bradley Cooper is a living testament to the power of determination. He showed that a star shines not only because of talent, but also because of the will to overcome the darkness within himself. The journey from a young man drowning in alcohol to an artist nominated many times at the Oscars is an inspiring story for millions of audiences around the world. Robert Downey Jr., from the abyss of alcoholism to the legendary Iron Man. Robert Downey Jr., born in 1965, is one of the greatest talents in Hollywood. He started his career very early and soon made his mark with promising roles. But besides his natural talent, Robert also had a deep darkness, alcohol, and drugs. During the 1980s and 1990s, Downey Jr. was constantly involved in scandals due to his addiction. He was arrested many times, went to rehab, and many people in the industry considered him the one who ruined himself. His career was on the rise, but suddenly it went downhill. Famous projects were canceled and Robert's name became a symbol of scandal and failure. But it was in those seemingly desperate moments that Robert Downey Jr. found the strength to change. With a strong will and determination, he gradually completely quit his addiction, regained his health, and restored order to his life. From 2008 onwards, his career witnessed a spectacular rebirth when Robert was chosen to play Tony Stark Iron Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This role not only brought him to the pinnacle of fame, but also became a global icon, proving that no matter how fallen, people can still stand up and shine. Robert Downey Jr.'s story is a living testament to the ability to change lives, showing that even stars who seem to have been destroyed by addiction and scandal can make a spectacular comeback. The image of Iron Man on the screen is not only a superhero, but also a symbol of extraordinary willpower and determination to overcome personal darkness. David Hasselhoff, Baywatch star, and his public battle with alcohol. David Hasselhoff, born in 1952, was an icon of the 1980s and 1990s, thanks to his role as Mitch Buchanan in Baywatch. The image of the handsome, tough lifeguard once captivated millions of viewers, but behind that halo was a life that had repeatedly collapsed due to alcohol. During the peak years of his career, David often appeared in a state of public intoxication. The image of the star being videotaped staggering on the street or at lavish parties shocked public opinion. Alcoholism not only affected his health, but also made David Hasselhoff's image scandalous, overshadowing his previous successes. But David refused to let his life be completely ruined by alcohol. He went to rehab many times and tried to recover, trying to find balance in his life and career. These efforts, though arduous, demonstrate a strong will and determination to overcome personal darkness, proving that even stars who seem to have fallen in the public eye can rise again. David Hasselhoff's story is a living testament to the price of alcohol and the pressure of fame, and a reminder that even if one falls, one can still find a way back to the light with determination and a strong will. Daniel Radcliffe, the boy wizard facing the darkness of fame and alcohol. Daniel Radcliffe, born in 1989, is the boy the world knows as Harry Potter. From a normal childhood, Daniel was suddenly caught up in the spotlight, with millions of eyes following his every move and every word. Early fame brought terrible pressure, and with a young soul, the boy wizard gradually turned to alcohol as a lifebuoy to escape the feeling of anxiety, loneliness, and endless pressure. After the Harry Potter series ended, the halo faded, but Daniel fell into a dark spiral, drinking continuously, sometimes almost losing himself. The public only saw the image of Harry Potter on the screen, but few knew that behind it were long nights struggling with alcohol fear and immense loneliness. However, Daniel Radcliffe found light in the darkness. In 2010, he decided to quit drinking completely, a courageous decision that marked a turning point in his life. Since then, Daniel has not only maintained sobriety, but has also gradually rebuilt his career with mature bold in different roles, such as in The Woman in Black or Guns. Akimbo, Daniel's journey is a living testament to the saying, even when falling in the storm of fame and alcohol, people can still stand up if they are brave enough. Today, Daniel Radcliffe is not only a talented actor, but also a symbol of willpower, a star who has overcome the darkness to shine brightly. Robin Williams, the genius of laughter and the storms in his soul. Robin Williams, born in 1951, is one of the greatest comedians in Hollywood history. From Mrs. Doubtfire to Good Will Hunting, he always brought the audience not only hearty laughter, but also deeply emotional moments. But behind the stage lights and that bright smile was a silent battle with alcohol, drugs, and inner storms. Williams started drinking at a very young age, and his rapid fame turned this habit into a real addiction. Although he always appeared cheerful, he had to go to rehab many times, struggling to find balance in his life. At times he was successful, seemingly standing firmly on the path to sobriety. But personal shocks, professional pressure, and deep loneliness pulled him back to alcohol. Williams's years are a clear demonstration of the paradox between the outer glory and the inner darkness. Audiences only see a happy, optimistic Robin Williams, but few know that in real life he had to fight every day to avoid being swallowed by pain, anxiety, and addiction. Each relapse was a huge shock to him, but it was also a reminder that even the most talented people can collapse under pressure. And alcohol. Robin's departure in 2014 left a big void in the public's heart. Hollywood lost an icon, and audiences lost the laughter and warmth from his heart. But it was the long battle with alcohol and psychological pain that made Robin Williams a humane person. A person who not only made others laugh, but also made us think about loneliness, weakness, and extraordinary determination to overcome ourselves. Robin Williams' story is a painful but true reminder. Under the halo, every star has battles that no one sees, and sometimes alcohol is the toughest enemy in their lives. Drew Barrymore, from a lost childhood to a Hollywood revival icon. Drew Barrymore was born in 1975 and was a shining star from a young age. At only 7 years old, she captivated the world with her role as Gertie in the blockbuster E.T. the Extraterrestrial, 1982. Her innocent smile and sparkling eyes made the audience think that Drew would have a dream childhood. But the reality behind the stage lights was extremely dark. Born in an artistic family, Drew had to face the complexity and chaos of Hollywood life from an early age. When she was only 9 years old, she was taken to lavish parties where alcohol and drugs were a necessary part. The more famous she became, the more easily she was drawn into the vortex of temptation. By the age of 13, Drew Barrymore had become a true bad kid, addicted to alcohol, drugs, and out of control in life. The big shock came when she had to go to rehab for the first time when she was a teenager. Later, due to too many psychological and family problems, Drew was even sent to a mental hospital for many months by her mother. At that time, many people believed that Drew Barrymore's career was over. However, it was in the darkness that Drew found the strength to change. With extraordinary determination, she gradually quit her addiction, learned to start over, and was determined not to let her lost childhood define the rest of her life. In the 1990s, Drew returned to the screen with a more mature individual and confident image. She made an impression in a series of famous films, such as Charlie's Angels' Never Been Kissed 51st Dates, and affirmed her name not only through acting, but also by establishing her own film production company, becoming a successful businesswoman. Today, Drew Barrymore is not only a beloved actress, but also a symbol of a strong revival. Her life story is a clear testament that no matter how dark the past, people can still choose to stand up, overcome, and shine again. Ben Affleck, talented actor, and the never-ending battle with alcohol. Ben Affleck, born in 1972, is one of the brightest faces in Hollywood. He is not only successful as an actor with blockbusters such as Good Will Hunting, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor, or Batman v Superman, but also makes his mark as a director and screenwriter. In 1998, Affleck and his close friend Matt Damon won the Oscar for the script of Good Will Hunting, a historic milestone that brought his name to the peak of his career. However, behind the halo, Ben Affleck has to face a hidden enemy: alcoholism. This is not just a temporary habit, but a disease that he has had in him since he was young. Ben himself once shared that his family has a history of addiction. His biological father was also a heavy drinker that made him easily fall into the spiral of alcoholism. Ben has been to rehab several times, the first time since 2001, when he was just 29. After that, he still tried to balance, but fame, work pressure, and personal events made his addiction more and more serious. His seemingly happy marriage with Jennifer Garner also fell apart, partly because alcohol made him lose control of himself. What makes the public both sad and admired is Ben's perseverance. Despite relapses many times, he never gave up hope. In 2017, Ben publicly announced that he was continuing treatment, and in 2018-19, he once again had to go to rehab. In his emotional confession, Affleck admitted, "Alcoholism is a difficult and long battle. I will always have to face it, but I do not give up today." Ben Affleck is not only an actor who has come back strong with successful roles, but also an icon of resilience. He proves that even the biggest stars can fall, but the important thing is to dare to get up after each fall. His return to major film projects has inspired many people who are on their journey to fight addiction and other destructive temptations. Elton John, from the darkness of addiction to a music legend and a symbol of willpower. Elton John, born in 1947, is one of the greatest artists of all time, with immortal hits such as Rocket Man, Your Song, or Candle in the Wind. He not only conquered audiences with his voice and performing talent, but also became a global cultural icon. But behind the brilliant stages in the spotlight, Elton John struggled with alcohol and stimulants for many years, causing his life to be shrouded in darkness. In the 1980s and early 1990s, Elton John often lived in a state of drunkenness and drug abuse. His wild lifestyle put him at risk of many broken marriages, poor health, and shaky reputation. Those around him witnessed a talented Elton John who became addicted and self-destructive, a testament to the terrible price of fame and pressure in the entertainment industry. However, Elton John found light in the darkness. In 1990, he decided to completely quit his addiction, embarking on a difficult but determined journey to rebuild his life. After that, he not only returned to music, continued to perform around the world, but also spent many years in social activities, especially in supporting the LGBTQ community and fighting HIV/AIDS. Elton John's story is a living testament to the power of will and the ability to revive. He turned his dark years into motivation to contribute, inspiring millions of people around the world. The image of Elton John today shining on stage, full of compassion and energy, is proof that even when falling to the bottom, people can still stand up, start again, and shine brighter than ever. Charlie Sheen. When alcohol and drugs drowned a billionaire star, Charlie Sheen was born in 1965, the son of veteran actor Martin Sheen. He soon became famous thanks to his talent and romantic charm in films such as Platoon, 1986, Wall Street, 1987, and later his famous role in the sitcom Two and a Half Men. Thanks to his great success, Sheen was once the highest paid TV star in Hollywood, with a salary of up to 18 million US dollars per episode. However, that halo was quickly drowned by alcohol and drugs. Charlie Sheen was known as a real bad boy, addicted to partying and living wildly. Evenings filled with alcohol, drugs, prostitutes, and scandals made his image increasingly worse in the eyes of the public. He was hospitalized many times, went to rehab, but then relapsed after a short time. The climax was in 2011 when Charlie Sheen publicly attacked the producers of Two and a Half Men in a state of losing control. As a result, he was fired from the film that made his name and lost tens of millions of dollars in annual income. Since then, Sheen's career has been on the decline, giving way to personal scandals. The press has continuously reported on him with phrases such as alcoholic drug, addict violent, instead of Alice Starr as before. Not only did Sheen lose his career, he also sacrificed his health. In 2015, he caused a stir when he admitted that he was HIV positive, partly the result of his debauched lifestyle. Although Sheen later announced that he had quit drinking and tried to rebuild his life. The echoes of his years of addiction remain an indelible scar in his career and public image. Charlie Sheen is a heartbreaking example of how alcohol and drugs can destroy a talented star. From the height of fame and a billion-dollar salary, he threw it all into the abyss of alcohol and scandal, a costly lesson for Hollywood. Anthony Hopkins, from the abyss of alcoholism to film legend. Anthony Hopkins, born in 1937, is one of the greatest actors in film history, famous for his role as Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs. But few people know that behind his calm appearance and natural talent, Hopkins once drowned in alcohol to the point of losing his memory. He drank to escape stress pressure and psychological wounds, causing his life and career to stand on the brink of collapse. In the early years of his career, alcoholism became a formidable enemy, threatening not only his health but also his career. Hopkins experienced dark days struggling with alcohol and at times thought there was no hope. However, in 1975, he decided to give up alcohol completely, embarking on a difficult but determined journey to rebuild his life. Since then, Anthony Hopkins has remained sober for more than 40 years, not only reviving his career but also becoming a living symbol of will, determination, and mental strength. His roles from Hannibal Lecter to other classic works have not only conquered audiences with his talent, but also carried with them the story of the extraordinary ability of human beings to recover. Anthony Hopkins' story is a living proof that no matter how fallen people can still find the light if they have determination and an iron will. These stories show us that the spotlight does not always mean happiness. Alcohol, which seems like a pleasure, can become a nightmare that ruins a life. But it is also from the darkness that some stars have risen and found themselves again, and they deserve to be respected as true warriors.